Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Tuesday trading room. Let's get the show on the road, as they say. Monday, even though it had a very, very quiet start, did end up being a moderately bullish session. Late in the morning, however, the market took a little bit of a nosedive, only to recover and finish slightly higher than the close, so not a very strong bar relative to the size. You can see for the last couple of months we've had a lot of tiny sessions versus what was going on about 4 or 5 months ago. But the market is still bullish, and even this morning it looks like we are opening with a little bit of extra bullishness, leaving off down here around the 73.60 mark. The overnight market really quiet as well. Here's the European session, an early rally. Well, early rally. They rallied out of the open off of this red bar buy on the Eagle and just kind of plodded higher for the next 3 or 4 hours. And the pre-market was pretty quiet, but we have a little bit of a gap here to the downside. We'll see whether they try to get into that as we push off of 7,400 to start the day. This, of course, with the NASDAQ. Well, we're starting to plot a little sideways. I'm wondering if I should just try to buy in before the market breaks out. We've got a couple buy opportunities. Here's a macro pullback brewing on the hawk. I wonder if I should just commit to the buy side and be done with. The Bollinger's starting to get a little bit mixed. All right, the Raptor might be coming back now with a hard edge bounce. You can see whenever we encounter the hard edge, it doesn't matter whether it's the fast cloud or the slower cloud, we anticipate some sort of reaction. A buy signal from here will produce a number 3, so that's one of our high probability signals. But you can see we're not totally in sync here, especially if we're going to take the Bollingers into consideration. There's still a little bit on the bearish side. possible late filter entry signal here now on the Falcon. In fact, we do have a late filter entry signal. All right, I will consider. Oop, I don't need 2 orders. Hold on. I got twitchy fingers there. Let's try that again. So we'll look to buy a second push opportunity above this high right here. I will get my stop loss order out of the way. Come on. Thank you. And this is essentially a second push opportunity on this late filter entry signal. Hopefully, if the market continues higher, it will also sync up the Bollingers. We're probably printing a number 3 signal on the Raptor. Yes, we are. So we've got a number 3 signal. We have a 4-arrow consolidation here on the Hawk. Oh, not yet. Not yet. We're still contending with this resistance zone. Just shy of 7,400. That's one of those psychological numbers as well. I know I should take profit on target, but it's so tempting because it's early that if there's a breakout, maybe I should try to get to the next resistance zone. Trade it up to 74.14 3/4. Decisions, what to do. Well, so far, no love from that late filter entry signal. Makes me, when I see a signal like that, a high probability signal, a signal that should work out, when I see a signal like that struggle, it makes me actually consider reversing on it, trying to short it instead. We're going to get an early trend change signal here if we produce a sell bar. And I bet we already have a number 2. Yes, we do. We've already got a number 2 signal here on the Raptor. Oh, Eric, counter trends. All right. We'll let it go. And we're getting that reverse now. I'm going to close this out. Ron's asking, what are the orange diamonds? Okay, I think you're probably referring to these guys right here. These are, what I've done, Ron, is I've just gone into the Falcon and I've changed some of the colors to make it a little bit easier to see. So if you go into your Falcon, or whatever the tool, this will be universal among the DTS and Raptor tools. And you scroll down here to your your plots. So the warning dot, the sell alert, and the sell entry point, I just changed the color on. I think by default they were red. I just changed them to coral, just to make it a little bit easier to see, for no other reason. So with the raptor, the falcon, the hawk, the eagle, they all function the same way. When we have a trade that is developing, we're going to get a warning dot along with an audio alert. When all the signal parameters have been met, we're going to get a triangle and a hash mark. That tells us now that it's decision time. All right, so we get the warning dot, then we get the triangle and the hash mark. Now we're going to look for particular setups. I'm not necessarily interested in every warning dot and triangle hash mark combination. Rather, for each tool, there's certain setups that tend to work out better than others. Here with the Falcon, for instance, we have the trend change signal, which is one of the signals that we're going to focus on. So that occurs when the trend line changes color. In this case, it changes from red to green. It's essentially the first signal that develops after that trend change happens. Normally, however, I do like to see this type of setup though. I like to see the move that changes the trend line color. I like to see a counter move. In this case, it was only one red bar. And then I like to see the market recover in the new direction and print a signal. That's what produces your trend change signal. Another signal that we have on the Falcon is this one right here. It's your just your basic trend line touch signal. Actually, this one was also a late filter entry signal. Here, we'll call this one, even though it came up a tick short, we'll call this a trend line touch. And all it is when it's a continuation signal. So it looks like the market is developing a trend. Prices come back to the trend line, at which point, once again, they try to resume the trend, and we get the triangle and the hash mark, the warning dot triangle hash mark combination. That tells us the signal is complete. Remember, the warning dot only tells you that a signal is developing. So when about half of the signal parameters are printed, you will get a warning dot. And then when all the programming requirements have been met, you're going to get the triangle and the hash mark. And then the last signal of the higher probability signals that we focus on is the late filter entry signal. Now, the late filter entry signal occurs when your filter, that's this down here, goes out of sync and comes back into sync. However, the trend line itself never changes color. It tends to be a pretty high probability signal, and we usually will see a little bit more follow through from that. Now, I've also put the Bollinger Band suite down here as a bit of an added confirmation tool because it works well with the Falcon and the Raptor. So here, for instance, we have the late filter entry signal, right? Filters out of sync, comes back into sync. But look at where the Bollingers were. The Bollingers were not bullish, were they? They were actually below the Bollinger line. And as a result, I guess we didn't get that follow through. Although it looks like it probably trickled up to at least hit our high probability target. It was making you work for it. And like I said, these are the same on all the tools. So here now with the Falcon again, okay, you see we had the trend line change. We have the trend change signal right here. This is one of the signals we focus on. It was in sync both with the filter and coincidentally with the Bollinger Suite, and a very nice move lower. So here we are now making possibly another trend change signal, this time to the upside, to the bullish side. So far the filter is in sync and the Bollingers are also a little bit ahead of the curve. So maybe if all the signal parameters are met, we will actually print a buy signal now. And that would also qualify as one of our high probability buy signals. Thanks for the question, though. Oh, I think I made those bars a little bit small. There, that looks a little better. The thing with the Raptor versus the Falcon and the other tools is the Raptor provides you with signal prompts to what are potentially high probability signals. So here again, if you're going to use your Bollinger Suite as a bit of a filter, here's a number one signal. It's true. Your Bollingers, however, are bullish. So does that mean you don't take the signal? Well, you might pass on the signal, but maybe you'll wait for a second push opportunity. All that means is you allow the signal to engage, you see where it reacts, and then you use that reaction bar as your signal bar. So in this case, the reaction bar occurs right at the signal, but rather than immediately short on the hash mark, you could short a little bit lower by another tick or two and potentially keep yourself out of a market that is not ready to trend just yet. Here's a number two signal, not usually one of my favorite signals, but you can see the Bollingers were already in sync. You could have actually gone on board earlier here with the Raptor. Here was a number three signal where the Bollingers were still within the band, so it would have negated that number three signal. So just an added layer to help keep you on the right side of the trade. Okay, so we've pulled back now to the hard edge. The Raptor already a little bit bearish. Ron's asking, are training videos available for review? Yes, sir, they most certainly are. Let me show you where you can find them. If you go to YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the easiest way to keep up with these. And so when you go to YouTube, just search Indicator Warehouse. There you go, Indicator Warehouse. Oh, you can see I've been trying to catch up on some golf lessons. And it will bring you to here, and this will be our channel. You can see there's loads of videos there. I'm going to get Jillian, who looks after this page for us, I'm going to get her to bring a couple of videos to the forefront for the Raptor. But in the meantime, if you want to make a note of these two dates, August the 2nd and August the 13th. If you go here to the videos tab, click on that, you'll be able to scroll through all the videos, the whole 1100 of them. But what makes August, where is it? Here we go. August the 2nd and August the 13th unique is that they were painfully slow trading days. And on those 2 days, I spent a lot of time. August 2nd, I went over all the Raptor signals, how they develop, what to look for. And August the 13th, we focused on the Raptor, but we also focused on just general market conditions. What makes one trade better than another? Now, you're not going to have to sit through the whole hour-and-a-half video. I think I get into it relatively early. And the nice thing about a video playback is you can always speed it up as well. I sound a little bit like Mickey Mouse, but it will make everything go by a little bit faster. But I think there's about a good half hour in each of these videos where I take the tools and I dissect them and I kind of go a little bit more in depth on each. All right, so that's August 2nd and August 13th. And yes, I will have Jillian bring those up to the forefront soon, so you don't have to go dig for them. All right. Well, on these reversal trades, we're always looking for a move back to the hard edge. We have that, and now the market's maybe trying to recover. I'm not sold yet that the buyers have it under control. Man, our trading band is flat though. Look at that. The band counter says we're only 4 ticks here on the Eagle, 7 ticks on the Raptor. Hawk and Falcon both a little bit more bullish already. And here we go with the crossover buy. That crossover buy a little bit late here. The Falcon giving you the late filter entry signal a little bit earlier. You know, when you get these signals, you look at your chart like this and it looks really constipated, like there's no real direction to it. Yes, you've got a number one signal to buy. Yes, your Bollingers are in sync. You may be asking yourself, gee, I don't know, is this like a 50% retracement? Oh, actually, it's a little bit deeper than that. But what I wanted to point out before it runs away on me is the second push entry strategy, where you just allow the signal to engage, you allow it to react. So here's the reactionary bar now. So I can look to enter above this high. It's only giving up a few ticks, and what it's going to do is it's going to help keep you on the right side of the market, because there's a real possibility that this move that we're looking at is nothing more than a bear flag. Stop it. Aren't computers great? If we continue higher from here, we're going to get a number 3 signal, which is going to confirm. this number one signal. Okay, so I'm going to get ready. I'm going to throw in a second push entry there. There we go. Here we go. Turn the chart trader on. All right, so let's see what they got. Not a whole lot of buying momentum here at the moment. Okay, we're going to see a trend line attempt to break the trend line. There we go. This should spark a little bit of bullishness. No, they're going to try to push down here. Where's that? Where are those buyers? Come on, you guys. No, they're not going to let me have it. See, I could roll my stop below here. This swing is a little bit more substantial. Ideally, you want to try to keep your stops a couple of swings back, and they should be prominent swings. There's one bull bar, yippee. I need to see two. I'd like to see two bull bars so I can roll my stops. I'm not going to get it though. They're going to tag me out here in a sec. Yeah, there they go. Oh, now I get two bull bars. Still don't think it was going to be enough. Okay, so what went wrong there? Frankly, nothing. We did everything correct, or as well as we could have. The market just did not respond the way it was supposed to. Now, I know that's cold comfort, but remember, by using the trade calculator, we limit our risk to an amount we can afford, right? The risk is limited to 2.5% of my capital. Those kinds of trades are not going to wipe you out, right? So I took a $250 hit on the trade. Yes, it was unpleasant. No, it's not going to ruin me. That's how you're going to protect yourself. Successful trading is not about eliminating all losing trades. That is a futile endeavor. You will never get there. As Ed Sequoia, the famous trader, once said, if you want to eliminate all losing trades, stop trading. That pretty much sums it up. Oh, look at that. And now they're starting to recover a little bit. Richard's asking, Eric, where did the ATR trail come from? I can't find it for NT8. Write Ben about it, or go to the members area of the website. He tacked that onto the Raptor late. Richard's asking about the ATR lines here, which you can also use as a filter. Yeah, just shoot an email off to Ben, and I'll put Ben's email here in the window for everyone. Well, I'd be tempted to call this a sideways range and call this a breakout and a retest. That includes the overnight, however. If I'm just going to include the morning session, we're more like this. Which puts us right dead smack in the middle of the trading range, which by definition is very bearish, or pardon me, very neutral, because as the market gets higher, there's going to be selling up here. As the market gets lower, there's going to be buying down here. So the smart play is to wait for a breakout. Breakout either higher or lower. People always asking, how do you trade chop? This is how you trade chop. You want to stay safe in a choppy market, avoid it. Let it break out, let it retest, let it prove to you that it can stay out. That's the safe way to trade chop. The aggressive way to trade chop is, all right, we've identified this as a trading range. I'm going to short from up here. I'm going to buy down here. And hope and pray that there's other buyers down here and other sellers up here, so I could at least get a scalp profit. That's really all you're looking for on those reversal types. Anything in the middle, though, it's going to be a crapshoot. Now, we are making higher swing lows. Well, actually, I guess we're making lower swing highs as well. I was going to favor the buyers ever so slightly. You can also see how when the market is behaving this way, how a deeper stop would actually still keep me in this trade. So I entered on this break here. My initial stop was somewhere around here. I did pull it back ever so slightly. But what if I had left it 2 swings back? Like I counted their swing 1, their swing 2. Obviously, swing 1 was not a really big swing. If I had left my stops down here, however, to start, you can see, even though I'm taking a lot of heat on the trade, I would not be stopped out. It's not a loss yet. And then when this swing occurred, okay, now I could have my stops here, which is effectively my initial risk amount. Right? So I may have started with a bigger stop, but remember, it's not a loss until it gets hit. I could bring my stop up here now, and yes, I may still get tagged, but I just want to emphasize how running a deeper stop gives you a greater probability of being successful. You don't want to get in a position where you're strangling your trades, where you look at your trade and you say, oh, okay, there's a number 1 signal printing. I'm going to put my entry right here on the hash mark, and I'm going to put my stop loss right here below the signal bar, and that's good. That's good, because I'm not going to risk very much money. Yes, that is true. You will not risk very much money. However, your probabilities of success are minute, because the market doesn't have to make very much of a hiccup to tag you out. A lot of traders are afraid to run a bigger stop, but remember, it's your safety net. Just because you start with a big stop doesn't mean you need to finish with a big stop. You can always roll your stops as needed. Well, we're pretty happy just kind of right in the middle here. Ho hum. They're just very content to be trading around 73.90. Nobody seems to want to make a run at 7,400, and nobody seems to want to sell it off. Well, folks, there's not much to do until the market commits to a trend. As directional traders, we need the market to trend at least a little bit. Oh, all right, as we try to get above the highs of the morning, how aggressive do we want to be? Do we want to try a short trade? I don't do this very often. I tend to trade in the direction that the market is going, but just for illustration purposes, let's look at potentially doing a short off of the top end of the trading range. Okay, so we have a resistance line at 7,400. And what I'm going to do here is I'll actually, if I have time, let's do I'll use the trade calculator here. I've set it to a limit order. This way I can contain my risk, right? I've got my stop set at an appropriate amount. Now, you probably don't need to have that much at risk for this type of trade. Traders who try to sell the top end of a trading range and buy the bottom end of the trading range tend to be more aggressive. They tend to try to get in early. You can see there's some early selling going on now as we get to the top end of the range. But they're looking for that breakout to be minimal. This is why so many breakouts fail. All right, here we go. So we've broken now. We're going to look for a pushback. My profit target here is probably too aggressive for this type of trade. So I'm going to bring my profit target in. I'm not going to make the market work all that hard. Once I get a reactionary bar, once I can see the market moving lower, I will quickly move my stops down. All right, that probably looks like it's going to be a reactionary bar. So I'm going to bring my stops in just above the high of that bar. And if this bar finishes on the low, I will bring my stops to break even. Using limit orders to trade is a very attractive way to trade because you can really keep your risk to a minimum. And of course, you start earning money right away. You're not waiting for a breakout. The downside is you're giving the trade-off of potentially a lower probability trade for the earlier opportunity. Okay, that's probably enough for me. I'm going to take it to break even at this point. I've certainly made my scalp profit. Right, there's my scalp profit right there. I'm trying to hold on for a little bit more. Oh, they're getting closer. Here we go. Come on, you can do it. Just a couple more ticks. Come on. Oh, there it is. They kissed it. I guess my profit target's a little bit far away. They should make this, by the way. There we go. Don't forget to close out your remaining order. All right, so there you go. Nothing, super scientific about that trade. No real mystery, just basic market behavior. When markets are congested, they're going to try to sell the top. They're going to try to buy the bottom. It's a bit of an aggressive trade, as I mentioned, but you can see how on a relatively small move, we were able to realize a profit on it. When the breakout finally occurs, we'll be in a better position. We'll be in a better position to take the market long or short. In the meantime, however, we're kind of left with this bit of a mess and no real direction. All right, a little bit more bearishness coming into the market now. So it seems they're pushing off of this high. And it looks like we're getting a little bit of a trend line reaction at this point. Should be a little bit of a pushback here. And if there is, I will actually get ready to short. Oh, come on now. Don't run away. The hawk here early with that first micro macro cross. Waiting for a trend change signal on the Falcon and the Raptor. Oh, come on. See, we're moving so slowly that some of the programming, the prices are slipping past programming. We should have got a trend change signal right here on the Falcon. It did not print. We're an hour in, and now we're testing the bottom end here. So I'm afraid that little bit of a bear move I was hoping for looks like it might have slipped past me here a little bit. Stinkers. Ooh, had a sneeze come up on me really quickly there. Okay, here comes a bit of a buying bounce off of the bottom end. We could have done the same thing down here, put in a limit order. I probably would have had my limit order too deep. This is some early buying going on. Here now, the little bit of a pushback. I don't know, things maybe with a slightly more bearish bent. A very small range today. If you look at, here's the daily chart again, just a very, very small trading range so far. Yeah, like Ray says, it's only 154 ticks today. That is nothing. These are the kinds of days that really test your patience. Like I said, they're very content. They're not getting very far from 73.90. Excuse me. They swing lower, they go back to 73.90. They swing higher, they come back to 73.90. There's not really much we can do trading wise. All right. The hawk, already bearish. This is essentially a macro pullback. The falcon, a little undecided. The raptor back into the hard edge. A move lower from here will produce a number one signal to short. Come on. The hawk signal now into yellow bars, which negates the signal. Well, I don't know how much longer I can stand the excitement. All right, here we go. Maybe getting the hard edge bounce. We're not going to be in sync with the Bollingers, but you know what? I'm so tempted to just short it. Okay, we're trading in slow motion here. Here comes the number one signal. Don't miss it. Don't blink. Oh, what I'm anticipating is the market's moved back into the hard edge after the cloud changes direction. The market comes back now. It should head lower. That will in turn produce a number one signal to short, or it should. Pardon me. Well, they're thinking about it. I'm so anticipating this signal printing. Wow. You can see we're still right in the middle of the sideways trading range. 73.90. Just not wanting to leave that. The Falcon still a little bit bullish. The Raptor totally, or pardon me, the Hawk totally undecided. Okay, here we go. The Raptor is going to be one of the first tools to produce this signal. And I think if it heads a little bit lower here, it will bring the Bollingers into sync, which would be good. But we definitely need to see it trade below here in order for that signal to print. They're just not having it. All right, here we go. There it is. All right, so I'll put the signal in. I'm going to enter, the hash mark is pretty much here at the low anyhow. Maybe I'll adjust my entry by a tick. This will be a number one signal if it prints lower. And we should see a retest of the bottom end of the trading range. In fact, there is a chance the market will head lower from here and maybe even get down here closer toward the median line, which will bring us back into yesterday's range a little. If they don't do something soon here, I'm going to ditch the order and wait for a follow-up signal. Come on, you can do it. Did I mention how aggressive this is? Seeing how we're right in the middle of the trading range. This is where a tool like the trade calculator comes in very handy because we're limiting our risk exposure in the marketplace. Yes, I may be wrong about the position, but at least I'm not risking more than I can afford. All right, there we go. We got the number one signal. actually getting some follow through. Oh, spoke too soon. Oh. All right, a little bit of pushback as the buyers try to support the bottom end. This low right here is key. If we see the market break, what is that? That is 73.77 3/4. So if we see the market trade 73.77, that's going to cause a lot of the buyers to unwind. And have to get out of their positions. Until then, we get to suffer through this sideways trading. Oh gosh, it's brutal. But like I said, we're right in the middle here of the trading range. Almost, well, I was going to say almost a trend emerging. We're swinging higher. We need to swing lower again. Obviously. Gee, thanks for that, Eric. Yeah, no problem. But so long as we stay within that range today, it's going to be a bit of a mess. We'll stay with it a few minutes longer. On the off chance that they actually make a move from here. Come on. Oh, painfully slow. All right, we're going to wind up the room here for the morning. If you are going to hang out for the remainder of the session here, you got to get the market outside this range, outside this trading range that we've been watching all morning. Until it gets outside of that, that's not going to it's not going to loosen up any. Floyd, thank you, Floyd, mentioning that we got a couple of Fed meetings today and tomorrow, and no doubt that is cramping the market style. All right, I'm going to see if I can't nurse that at least into a break even, and I will see you again tomorrow. Hopefully things will be a little bit more interesting. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.